So we've been thinking a lot, my colleague Jeremy Hymans and I have been thinking a lot about how the world's really changing and thinking about this idea of new power, which is this skill, kind of the ultimate 21st century skill. How do you harness the connected crowd to get the outcomes that you want? And if you look across the world right now, whether it's in politics or in business or in society, time and time again we see these crowds emerging, and the people who can get them pushing in the direction they want, those are the people who are leaping ahead, whether it's the platforms like a Facebook or an Airbnb, or whether it's politicians, anyone from Barack Obama to Donald Trump. That power of harnessing the connected crowd is turning out to be kind of the superpower of our times. So I think a generation of people are coming into markets expecting new things, right? For generations, consumers in particular didn't have high expectations. They got a product and they were done. What we're increasingly seeing is people are expecting much more than just a product. They're expecting a sense of purpose, to be connected to something more meaningful than simply a transaction. They're expecting to participate in that purchase in a meaningful way. They want to be a part of something bigger where they can play a meaningful role. So I think what's beginning to shift across the world is we're seeing this kind of much more participatory product coming into the marketplace, and I think it's just the beginning of that. People are going to want to tie their economic transaction with a much deeper participatory experience. Well, you think about when I was growing up, if I wanted to participate in the world, I didn't have very many options, right? I could write a letter to the local newspaper, and they wouldn't publish it. I could dial up the radio station and see if I could get on the chat shows, and they wouldn't take my calls. And that was pretty much it. Those were the tools of participation. You look at young people today, look at all people today, and they have these amazing tools of participation where they can engage, mobilize, fundraise. I think traditional companies need to work out which traditions are fundamental and which traditions are holding you back. Because some traditions, the things you stand for, your values, your history, your uniqueness, those things are worth sustaining. But it's easy to confuse tradition with just doing the same thing again and again and again and again. And actually a lot of companies confuse their traditions with just some of the things that are holding them back. So I think one of the interrogations for companies is, what's stopping you from engaging more in the world? What are those things that are keeping you away from these hordes of people who are just looking to find ways to participate? How do you connect with them is the right set of questions. Yeah, so I certainly think that as you step back, we'll see this period of history at a moment which has been defined by this huge surge in participatory behavior. I think that will, stepping back, seem like something significant in terms of the shift. So I think there will be a moment of new power. Now, where that develops next over 10, 15 years, who's to say? There are all sorts of interesting developments around AI, around artificial intelligence, around VR, around augmented reality. I mean, there's a long list of kind of interesting factors that will shift the world. And of course, there are the three things that nobody's heard of yet, which are going to come out in the next 3 years, and then the world will change again.